close so we wouldn't upset all the colors she'd left. And I'll be in the other room if you need me.
And then luckily they liked it and wanted to put it out, and then they put us in touch with a booking agent who works with a lot of their bands. And so when we actually ended up finally getting to Berlin, it was really nice because we knew that there was a record coming, and we had an agent who was planning a tour. So it was all that work or whatever. It felt like we were working towards doing something, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like we were just going to get there and then have to figure it out by ourselves. So because we were willing to do that as well, but it was that there was some sort of support. And then so we arrived, I think, in about middle last year, and then the album came out in October, and then we toured it for a month in the winter, and it was a real good baptism of fire, I must say. It was wonderful. And you know, Berlin it's just so great. It's an amazing city. You can do anything you want in Berlin, really.
I've heard that. I've had
it's super cool.
I've had Alexander Haka and Daniel Pt.2 on actually just a couple of weeks ago, and
wow,
yeah, they were talking about how much Danielle moved there in early '80s, and she's been from New York all the way to Berlin, and she's loved it. She helped form that Love Parade that they do every year, and
okay, wow,
she's just been an integral part of the art scene ever since. Now for the past 10 years, they've been kind of nomads. They just gave up everything and decided to just get in their car or van or whatever it is and just be nomads. And so that's what they're doing now. But they gave me the impression that you're giving me, that Berlin is just a wonderful place for musicians and for artists, and it's very welcoming and supportive.
Yeah, and it also for a touring musician, it's just also it's located pretty well, you know, in terms of getting to other places in Europe. It's a pretty affordable city as far as it goes, you know. Then rent prices and beer prices and all these things are very very reasonable.
Has the move influenced the way you guys write music? Has it changed your writing process at all, or your perspective?
I think that, I guess your perspective, and it's kind of changing all the time, I guess, by your surroundings, and, you know, and as you grow as a musician and a person, I guess. And also a very big part of what you put out is who you work with, you know, and we found the most incredible and lovely drummer who was playing with us now for the last year in Berlin. So we worked with him on all this stuff for the new album and in shaping the songs and whatever. And his style of playing and, you know, writing together as three people as opposed to two people was hugely inspirational. And definitely had a big impact on the sound. And then and then also I would say that there's in this stuff that is coming out now, well, that will be on the next album, there's sort of there's a sense of unsurety and unknowing, but, you know, I think that's always been in our music anyway, you know. It's just a different kind of, it's a geographical unknowing now, maybe, you know. It's just so it's I think, I mean, also I find it one of the most inspiring things to go and watch bands. So it's also, and just music, you know, and Berlin is great for that. And you can really get your fix there.
Oh yeah.
If you want to go out and I've seen some incredible shows there. A lot of, you know, just interesting off the wall kind of stuff that you don't get in a place like Cape Town, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Now, a mirror. Since we touch on some new stuff right now, that it sounds a little more aggressive than a lot of the previous music, and even visually, that the video, I've noticed a lot of the other stuff is somewhat muted, black and white, low contrast, maybe some muted colors. Even with when you do the colored work, it's a lot of muted colors, but a mirror is deep reds and blacks in the video, and the song itself is a little more aggressive. Is that indicative of what's going to be on the new album?
Into the heather, into the light, out of mind, out of sight. Masochistic man's television fiction as he licks the bathroom wall.
Yeah, I think there was definitely a part of me that I don't know what it was a reaction to, because often just a reaction to, but I wanted to make something heavier and like just something uglier, and the good thing about being in a rock and roll band is if you want to do something like that, you can,
right?
So that was and it was also, we wanted to just test out something, I guess. And we because the guy who co-producing this new album with us, his name's Simon, and Simon Radcliffe, and he happened to be in Berlin, and around that time we thought, actually, why don't we record a single? Because he'd mixed lower, but he didn't record it. And so we wanted to do the whole new album with him. And we thought this could be a pretty nice testing of the waters. Like, let's do one single. Let's start recording in Berlin and we finish in Cape Town. And so that was kind of a sort of spur of the moment project, actually, that single. And I think I'm really happy with how it came together. And I think there's definitely some of that stuff on the new album. I think there's some stuff on the new album that's going to make that look kind of tame, actually.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to that.
Some of it's an interesting record, because we've always been very sort of vocal and proud of the fact that we really are about embracing both ends of the spectrum, the extreme quiet and the extreme noise, I guess.
Yeah, and sometimes in the same song.
Yeah. For sure.
Which to me is so beautiful. I absolutely love that dichotomy when it happens, and you guys have mastered that. Now, third album you guys are working on right now. You stated it's the final Medicine Boy album. What's bringing the band to a close?
Well, I just think we've been so committed to this thing for so long, and it's been basically everything that we've, it's been our lives for the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And it was all we think about, and we were so insular, and we were so in each other's space, and, physical and emotional space all the time. And it was starting to become it wasn't feeling normal, just to be so just to be up in each other's space all the time.
24/7.
Because that is just what, and it's just what it required, even with all the like bureaucratic shit that comes with moving, all that stuff we had to do together. Obviously we take our writing and our rehearsing very seriously. Our stuff is, it's not light material. So all this, this mixture of all these things and becoming super insular, it just kind of got to a point where it just felt unhealthy, and we were starting to have blowouts that which we didn't really need to have, and it didn't feel right. It felt like we were sort of putting the beautiful thing, which is just our relationship as friends and family or whatever. we were kind of putting that at risk, because we knew that in order for us to go from where we are now to sort of, I don't know how to say it, but sort of the next level, the next step, or to reach a wider audience, or whatever that means in terms of leveling up as a band, that would require even more commitment, even more sacrifice, even more, and just both of us just thought, actually, if we do this, we're gonna burn out, and we might not even burn out, we might blow out, right. And then everything is fucked. Like, why? We saw this opportunity that we had all these songs, we had a tour booked for, we had dates in Europe, and then we had this festival in South Africa, and we just thought, maybe this is a time to call it, and go out, like, play these shows. We have our last show at home, and we get to put out a new record, which, I mean, in true musician's sense, makes no financial sense at all. Musicians have never been the best with money, I guess. So we thought, what a nice way, that, like, it's a beautiful thing to end a very beautiful thing, and do it. And it's obviously it's sad, but it's also, it does opens up, new possibilities, of course. And we both feel really good and really proud of the decision, and we've been having a really good time together making this album, and, we've been hanging out, and it's been really great. And I think both of us are, excited for it to get out there and to sort of, and then to see what happens next,
Well, it sounds like a similar situation to your first band, where you don't want to sacrifice the friendship and the relationship you have for, what could be just fleeting, or something that doesn't actually end up coming to fruition.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and I mean, and this is even more so because we love each other. We're family. And it's and it would be a real. I don't think either of us would be able to forgive ourselves if we fucked that up.
So it sounds like it's actually a really mature decision.
I know. I'm surprised.
So for and not just for the new album, but for the prior albums, do you guys each come in with your own material and you work it out together, or you just, for lack of a better word, jamming in the studio, or how do the songs come together for you guys?
We've never had sort of one process. When we were first writing, we were, because we had to just come up with some songs for this new band that we were starting. So then we would actually get together and we would write. And a couple of songs came out that way. And then Lucy said, well, I've got this old idea that I mess around with, and, in university it goes like this. And then, I maybe see something in one of her songs that she didn't see. And then I go, well, I got this old idea that that I'd never got used for this band, and she might see something else in that. And so it's a very, so that was kind of the process at the beginning. I think it started that with Lower, we worked a lot with our South African drummer, who's amazing. His name's Werner, and he created a lot of sort of loops and stuff that you hear on some of the songs, like a song called Diamonds, for instance, and a song called Bottom of the Blue. These amazing sort of almost like electronic textures that go on. So it was really nice working with him on those kind of songs, because we would send him the song, the demo with me just playing the drums on a guitar case or something, and he would sort of see something else in that. So that was a really nice album to make, because it was very collaborative. And then this new one that we have now, it's coming out now, I would say the songs, I think, are a bit more separate than they've been before. There are Lucy's songs and there are my songs. It just kind of worked out that way. I think but obviously we're all over each other's songs anyways. We always make it a collaborative thing, you know, we're all singing together, etc. But it did, yeah. So the process is always changing, but you just got to show up, you know,
right,
and see what happens, you know. Sometimes nothing happens, but you got to show up, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you've said in the past that songs are alive and can shapeshift. Are there any Medicine Boy songs in particular that have really evolved over the course of, you know, playing them live and songs themselves aging?
Well, a song, we did a song with the first full-length album called Evil,
yes.
Which to tell you the truth, me and Lucy really liked it very much. We thought it was like almost too safe, you know. It was too like, it was, you know, and then we. So that we would always try to, when we played it live, to sort of put it in a blender and try different versions of it, slow it down, extend it, you know, make it actually I mean, I know there were a bunch of people who just wanted to hear the fucking song as the way it is, and like maybe it might have, you know, but so that one's taken a lot of different roads.
Well, I can imagine, because at the end you've got this chorus.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, you know, multiple voices. And I imagine, first of all, that would be, you know, really tough for just the two of you to do live.
Yeah, yeah, sure, exactly. So we actually, the show that we did down in Cape Town, the last one, we had a whole band playing with us, and we had 4 amazing women singing some backing vocals. So we finally actually got to do it.
Well, and
that was cool.
That, like, Water Girl, that song, I saw a video for the festival of a completely different version of that, and that, just the version, I mean, it almost brought me to tears. It was, I just,
oh wow,
it just, like I said before, your music has just really connected with me for some reason, and it's just, that song, that version of that song is just, it sounds sad. It's very melancholy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the song on the album is completely different. So did that take a lot of, was it hard to rework it like that?
Well, you know, I mean, that's an interesting thing, is like, that's, you know, how people receive your, you know, your interpretation of the song and that version, you know, that's why songs can shapeshift too. 'Cause, you know, you hear something in that song that wasn't maybe the intention even. I'm not sure what the intention was at that point when we performed it like that, but you know, but you perceive it in that way, and that's what makes it really beautiful and alive, you know.
Okay.
Where someone else might listen to it and go like, oh shit, I don't like this version, you know.
Oh man.
So it's that interpretation that I think is yeah. And but a song that's really shapeshifts live is a mirror. Every night on tour, it's slightly different. Sometimes it's, you know, 12 minutes long, and a shambles, and you know, it's really nice. It's really important for me to have moments in the set and the songs that are a little bit, I guess, like, I mean, maybe dangerous sounds a bit corny or something, but like a bit where the sort of, this could sort of collapse at any point, you know? Right.
Well, and that's the thing I've noticed about your music, is that it's either very delicate, and like I said, mentioned sometimes in the same song, it can be very delicate, or it seems like it's on the verge of exploding at any second.
Yeah.
The entire thing, and that's what I love about it. And it's a volatility in the music that you just don't know what's coming next. It's a surprise, and you know, it could be that it goes from something very soft and just piano driven to all of a sudden this big squall of feedback. And to me, that's the kind of stuff that I absolutely love.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. I guess that, but you know, it's just something that I think, yeah, we never really set out to like, you know, oh, this is the idea, I've got this concept, you know, it goes from like, yeah, but just kind of, yeah, I think when we were writing, one of the first songs we wrote was a song called The Strange in Me, and it's was at the end, and then Lucy had written the song on guitar like a couple of years ago, and I thought, oh, this sounds so cool on this, you know, just play it on the keys with the bass, and here's what about this guitar thing, and then we were like, okay, well, how do we end it? And then we just thought, okay, what if everything just gets destroyed at the end? Wouldn't that be weird and different? And it kind of and it was the thing of just trying stuff, you know. And always wanting it to sound slightly unconventional, I guess, and slightly unpredictable, as you said, which is, you know, I mean, you're always challenging yourself with that, because obviously, like I said, with the guitar stuff, sometimes you find yourself falling into old habits, and it's always like the kind of the challenge, I guess, of an artist is to always, one of the challenges is to try and not repeat yourself too often, and not to rely too much on your old tricks, or your sort of the elements of your craft that you feel you've really mastered, but it's to kind of to always kind of be searching for something that can make you feel excited and surprised and also terrified again, you know. Like I said, with the first year of playing those Medicine Boy shows, it was such a strange experience, because I think we still feel our whole bodies when we play, but that was just something like, there's something really interesting in doing something that's so new and so, you know, and you just have to be so aware of what you're doing. It's crazy, and I kind of yearn for that again. So I am hoping to sort of find it again somehow.
So, well, I'm hoping you do. Now, I have a question for you real quick about Endless Daze Festival. You co-founded that several years ago. Are you still involved in that now that you guys have moved to Berlin? And how does that work, being so far away, if you are?
So Endless Daze, it started with this company myself and four of my best friends started, called Psych Nights, and then we used to do local events, and we hosted some foreign bands, and then we eventually just kind of got to the point where we thought, well, okay, we're going to do a festival now, right? And then it just seemed like the logical thing, and Vans, who are our sponsor, they wanted to do it, so we thought, okay. So then it kind of became more, we're doing less shows, and then just doing this one festival. We do sort of one or two smaller shows every year, but the main focus was on the festival. And that was kind of around the time that I was moving. But because it's such a focused thing and it only happens once a year, it hasn't been a real issue. And we've got such a great team, you know, and one of our guys is actually in Hong Kong as well. So we're in very international business. And
it sounds like it's one of the few ways you can actually bring international bands to Cape Town. Like exactly. A Place of Very Strangers has played one of the festivals, so I don't know if they'd be touring South Africa if it wasn't for you guys. For sure, it's an amazing thing. I mean, talking about like being surrounded by amazing, talented people, and like I said, you know, I get to bring bands that I love to South Africa. You know, it's kind of a dream, really. That's awesome. And also it's a really good excuse to go back to Cape Town every year. You know, I came in November, and now I'm still here. You know, and it's beautiful, beautiful weather. You know, and I get to see my friends and stuff. I get to see my family, like I said. So it's it's an amazing thing, and the festival just gets better every year. And the man, it's just an amazing group of people, and I'm really I'm humbled as hell every year. You know, that's awesome. See, I'm in Virginia in the U.S., so I'm getting the opposite. It's rainy and dreary here right now, so I'm getting the exact opposite. But
yeah.
So you had mentioned that you've already wrapped up your touring. So with the new album, I'm assuming you're not going to be going out and supporting that with a tour then.
No, unfortunately not. We kind of, I think we briefly thought of it, but it just kind of like it would. Yeah, it just seemed that everything was sort of in line the way that it should be, and we knew that, you know, organizing another tour, then then we're back to this with the thing that it just didn't feel natural. It felt sort of and it's kind of nice to. it's kind of nice to just make a record and put it out there and not actually have to take it on the road, which is weird because I feel like songs really come alive when you play them live. But we were lucky enough that on the last shows we did in Europe, we were playing a lot of them with Fred, our drummer, to sort of to work them in for the recording.
Okay.
So we actually played a lot of them live. So I feel very happy we got to do that and to feel how it feels to play them, because they are, ironically, I think they're the songs that were almost the most written for the live stage, actually.
Oh, wow.
You know? But it's also been great that now finishing them off, knowing that they don't actually have to go there. You know, you can. So and it's an interesting process for sure when you think about that these songs they'll never grow in that way, and like there won't be the interpretation of the, like, you know, the live version on YouTube or whatever. They'll just be the record, and but I feel kind of excited about that, I must say.
You're not going to have the new version of Evil where it changes 10 times.
No, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So do you have plans for what your next project is going to be?
No idea, but I feel very excited about that. I have but I told myself I wasn't going to worry too much about writing and stuff while I was here in South Africa and just sort of clear my head a bit. But I actually went out and bought a little interface today because I actually wanted to. I actually want to record some demos. So
look at that.
So some stuff is floating around, and there's sort of slowly, I think, things are piecing together. And there's a couple of people in Berlin that I'd really like to work with. So I think I'll put some stuff together and send it to them and see if they'll have me.
It'd be a huge mistake if they didn't, because I think you're an amazingly talented musician, and I definitely want to follow you on Facebook, on Twitter, and all the social media platforms, because I want to keep up with what you're doing. I'm hoping whatever it is, you come to the States at some point to play some live shows, because
yeah, I'd love to, man.
I would love to experience a live show. And just kind of experience your guitar playing live, because what I've heard on the record, the couple live clips that I've been able to see on YouTube and all, it's exactly what I love. It's not shred. It's more emotional, and it's something that I connect with. And I really want to thank you for spending well over an hour with me at this point. So where can people follow?
Oh, fuck, really? We go over an hour?
Yeah, a little over an hour at this point. So where can people follow you on social media to keep up with what you're doing?
So I guess Instagram and Facebook, that would be the best. We have a Twitter, but to be honest, the only reason I haven't deleted the band's Twitter is because I follow Warren Ellis on Twitter, because he's not on Instagram and stuff. And I just use Twitter to every now and then see what's going on in his life, what he's doing. But to be totally honest, I think I will probably delete our Twitter soon. It's never really been my thing, but we're pretty active on Instagram and Facebook. I kind of like those things, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, those would be the best stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, Andre, thank you so much for spending so much time with me. I really do appreciate it. I've become an enormous fan, and like I said, your music, it's not just one of my favorite discoveries of the past year. It's one of my favorite discoveries of all time. I'm really, really loving your music.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me and for the kind words and for listening.